Hello YouTube. Right, I've had a few people basically email me and ask me how to attach something known as the power screw on a Crosman Ratcatcher. So what I'm going to do today is just run you through it quickly. It's a pretty simple operation. This power adjuster, as they call it, was bought from eBay from a man called GDT Mac. That, if you can see, is the new spring, complete with a cocking guide. Okay, just compare that to the Crosman spring I've taken out from it. As you can see, roughly the same size. The new power spring reputes to give the Crosman more power. It does, however it can cause some problems with the CO2 capsule. When you're taking it out, it can often jam. So I myself have actually put in the old spring back again, but for the purpose of today I'll show you how to put it in. Okay, what you need to make sure of is, of course, this is clear, no obstructions. This basically just slides into there like that. Okay, this is now going to go directly into the back of the gun. Okay, straight in a straight line, which I will now do. Bear with me. So now you can see the power adjuster is in the back of the gun. May I remind you that it's vitally important to make sure that these two little screw lines line up with the back of the gun, or else it'd be very difficult to get it back in and have to redo it all. So bear with me while I just put this back in. That is the screw that's going to go in first. Notice I've actually cut the screw down. What you'll discover is when you attach the power adjuster, the original Crosman screw is slightly too long to put into the back, so you may have to cut that down. I did it with an industrial Dremel drill. Okay, that screw is now in the process of being screwing into the back breech block. Okay, again, you've got to make sure that's pretty tightly in, so you're not going to have the breech rattling about, and you're not going to have the power adjuster rattling about. Again, it's very important to make sure that is secure when it's screwed all the way down. Like I said, this can cause problems. Now what we're going to do is attach the screw in the bottom to make sure it's secure. Then we're going to put the stop back on, and I'll demonstrate to you how the power adjuster works. This is a slightly more difficult operation to do. Okay, it's important to remember you have at least 2 flathead screwdrivers when doing this. It's also very handy to have a magnetic steel bowl. This stops basically you losing the screws. Again, this bottom screw has to be in extremely tight, again, to make sure there's no moving about and the spring's secure. There we go, it's been placed back in. It's important to remember that when you're putting the screws in, it's best to put pressure on the back of the gun. I mean, if you're having it's quite a strong spring, so if you're having problems yourself, you can get somebody to help you out. It is important to keep pressure on the spring. So now that's secured in place, you can see both screws are in place. I'm going to put the stock back on, which I'll show you how to do. Pretty simple operation, really. Anyone can put the stock back on. Basically, the stock just slides in to the back. It'll take a bit of time, especially if you're trying to do it one-handed. That's the idea of it. There we go. Stock is now secured. Okay. All you need to do now is screw it back in with the bolt supplied. Okay. The power adjuster is now screwed onto the back. and the stock is now on. The power adjuster in theory allows you to tension the spring, giving the gun more power. I'll demonstrate this now. Okay, before firing, all you need to do is wind it out for less tension, wind it in for more tension. That's actually now as far as it will go. What you need to be careful of is if you wind it in too far, you can actually wind it past the bolt catch and the bolt will not actually cock. So I tend to leave it as it is now. This ensures that the bolt cocks. Okay, so now what you should always do whenever you're doing anything with the trigger or the bolt or attaching a new spring, is just ensure the trigger and bolt do cock. That has now cocked. Not really a good idea to make a habit of dry firing the guns. It's alright doing it every now and again just to test it out, but it can knacker the spring. So there we go. It's the old spring that has been taken out. I've put the new spring in, and now we have in theory a Crosman that should fire above its standard power, and it's not bad at all.